Okay, this is your Adobe Photoshop Workspace. When you open your Adobe Photoshop program, this should be what you see. Over here we have different palettes. There's your toolbox palette, your navigator palette, your color and swatches and styles palette, and most importantly, your layers palette. Photoshop is all about layers, so we have to make sure this is always on. Now, if you happen to open your Photoshop and these palettes are missing, we go to Window, drop down, and click on, say, layers. It opens that palette. Window, we can open our navigator palette. Window, we can open our color palette. If our tools palette is missing, we need that also. If that's not there, again, window, drop down the tools and click on. That will open that palette for you also. Along with the toolbox, any tool that you're using up on the top here is a toolbar property. So any properties associated with the tool you're using will be in this top box. This is important because as we're using a tool, such as a brush tool, in this box are properties of using this tool for tweaking and editing your picture, such as brush sizes and different things, and we'll go over that more in just a little bit. Okay, also up on the top we have our file menu. Most importantly, we're going to learn how to import your pictures. We'll open them. We'll learn how to save and save as with them. Our edit box for stepping backwards and undoing different things. We have spell checking and our transformation options also in our edit menu, which we will be using. In our image drop down, we have our mode. We will mostly be working in RGB, especially for the web and on a computer. If you're doing production print output to, say, do business cards or brochures, you may want to work in CMYK. Also, we have our image size, which is very, very important. We'll go back to that, and our canvas size in here. Our layer drop down, we won't need to use much from this because as we are using things in our layer box over here and we right click, we will get the same options. Okay, our select menu we won't be using much. Filters, these filters we'll go over briefly. Okay, these are how you can add different filters to your photos, and we'll play with one or two of them, and then when you go back to play with your program, you can in-depth play with each and every one of them if you like and find out exactly what they all do and how they apply to your picture. Our view drop down shows us some different things. Important here would be our rulers, which are right here at the top. You can see the ruler along the top. If that's clicked off, your ruler disappears, so that's located in view. And our window, we talked about our different palettes and viewing them. If they're checked, they're visible. If not, they're not visible. And then our help menu also. Okay, so that's basically our workspace, and we're going to get into next working with our tools and our toolbox and go over each one of these palettes a little bit and show you what's in them and how you can utilize them in Photoshop. Also, these red lines that you see as I follow this cursor, as you follow the cursor around the board, will not appear in your version of Photoshop. These are only for the tutorial, for a visual aid for you to follow along. Also, when I left click, you will see from the cursor a series of red rings, little red ripples come out, and when I right click, you will see a series of blue ripples come out. Again, you will not have this in your Photoshop. This is solely for your tutorial and for your visual aid. Alright, let's move on to the toolbox.